What's up, guys? Your boy, 20K13. I'm going to talk about no matter how good a coach David Blatt may be, is he right for LeBron James? Not even a game-winning shot in the conference semifinal is suitable to serve as the lead to the next day's sportscast. Not in this Cavaliers season. Not when there's a firestorm to be fueled. So there we were Monday, the media mob angling for anything to advance the assumption of imminence, the sense that 7 months in there are still significant cracks in collaboration between LeBron James and David Blatt. Turned out there was no additional eruption, certainly none strong enough to send any more hot takes streaming like molten lava across the sports landscape. Just explanation, the embodied coach and empowered star restated their interpretation about what had occurred and more notably in the mind of many almost occurred in Sunday's 86-84 Game 4 win in Chicago. When Blatt tried unsuccessfully to call a timeout he didn't have, and then called an inbound play, James immediately unapologetically and for the Cavaliers' purpose, thankfully overruled, later letting the world know that he did so. Monday, Blatt confidently countered any claim of incompetence, while James summarily dismissed any insinuation of insubordination, the specifics of which can be saved for later. Since they won't sway many supporters of either side, of course Blatt and James are supposed to be squarely on the same side. Even if it hadn't always seemed so this season. At best, it appears it's an uneasy alliance and, at worst, an arranged marriage of extreme inconvenience, two people thrust together due to a timing glitch, then subject to be the constant parison of every comment. Yes, circumstances have played a part, but so have the parties themselves. James quipped that Blatt was catching heat because he coaching me, as if crudity is simply an unfortunate byproduct of proximity, and Blatt argued that he coped with that microscope pretty well all season, to be honest. Though even if you grant him that, it's undeniable that the coach's defensiveness has sometimes been a derailment. Further, even if you think that Blatt is a good coach, a reasonable stance considering his European record is not easy to win that much anywhere. It can also be a reason. It can also be a reason to wonder whether that makes him the right coach for this situation. Is he the right coach for this roster? The Cavaliers were rebuilding at the time of his hire, prior to James hankering for a homecoming which would have afforded him the opportunity to transition without pressure. But what about this team? The one that's now on a quick-ticking championship clock, the one led by someone of James' stature in the sports? Is he the right coach for the stage of James' career when he already reached the pinnacle but can still use help reaching his highest level? Is he the right coach to earn the unconditional respect necessary to offer the sort of constructive resistance that even James requires? Or should we take something from the statistic as James played his preferred position, a point small forward and an offense leaning heavily on isolation, only for the star shooting efficacy to slip significantly from 56.7 to 48.8%. James is now at 41.8% for the postseason, lowest since 2008, though some is attributable to Cleveland injury. Is Blatt more of the right coach than others who may be available this summer, including the Bull Tom Thibodeau? In an environment where coaches from Monte Williams to Scott Brooks have been deemed replaceable after winning record? Maybe so. Maybe that's what he will show. Still, there should be more signs by now. There should certainly be fewer flare-ups, fewer uncomfortable follow-up press sessions with the storyline centered on everything but the previous evening score, even when the Cavaliers were in heart-stopping fashion on the right side of that Sunday. and I quote, "See, you guys want to make this the story. It's not the story," Blatt said Monday. The focus on his timeout usage and, more pointedly, on his choice on the final play. "We won the game Sunday. To me, it's not a story. It's just part of the drama. Shakespeare wrote comedy. He wrote tragedy. He wrote tragic comedy. He wrote drama comedy. At least in the movies nowadays, you have a lot of those. That's just part of this wonderful business we all in. It's 2-2 in the series. Heck of a series, and we're glad to be part of it. And I'm certainly glad to be part of it. If Shakespeare penned a modern soap opera, it might look like what Blatt now co-starring in, with a new episode every day of the week, and even rerun on some weekend. If he didn't expect this level of turmoil, he wasn't alone. While Blatt was hired prior to James' return, there was instantly much excitement in the Cavaliers' corner and in James' camp about how these two advanced basketball minds would melt. The only was that James had never been one to overemphasize the importance of any of his head coaches, from Paul Steeler to Mike Brown to Eric Spoelstra. It doesn't mean he sees them as immaterial. He just put a far greater premium on players and gives nearly equal weight to the assistant as the coach in charge. He has also tended over the years to reserve his most frequent and energetic public praise for the opposing coach. whether an experienced one like Greg Popovich or Doc Rivers or Tom Thibodeau to an impressive newbie like Brad Stevens, someone on the other side who makes him think and work to win. It's been enough when it comes to his own coach. To offer occasional endorsement through this season have more tepid than usual, and to avoid any comment that could give the media machine any trace of trouble. Even when some may be present behind the scenes, James has become so savvy in this regard that it can be assumed an accident when he keeps referring to Blatt as a rookie, a characterization the latter resent enough to lash out at any reporter who related. In the same vein, James knows too well what will result when. In responding to a question about his remarkable final shot, he started by announcing that he scratched Blatt's final play. Exactly what happened, a next day circus. It's a constructive here to compare his current word with the care with which he showed his word with interaction. In the public forum with Spoelstra, certainly they had their rough patch, particularly early. Heat insider would tell you that James became more amenable to Spoelstra's suggestions sometime in their second season together, and yet he contradicted Spoelstra at times. But he was seized with Spoelstra, who tried to escape press briefing with minimal controversy, mentioning it to him, tell him just go along and get by. And they would discuss issues privately. Over time, James actually became more of an ally than an adversary, commonly referring to Spoelstra by the endearing Spo. He often called his current coach by the impersonal Blatt. Maybe because it's impossible to shorten. He paired many of Spoelstra's principles in saying publicly, even the hokier ones, and still does to this day. Spoelstra has some factors in his favor in the first season that Blatt does not, including the credibility that comes with 2 playoff seasons as an NBA coach, and the unwavering support from the top that comes from 16 years as of 2010 working for the same stable organization. Then he gained more advantage over time. Time that Blatt has not had yet. James, after falling flat in the 2011 NBA Finals, was at his most receptive to a coach council. Blatt, by comparison, is coaching someone who had already won 2 titles. Plus, both the comportment seemed more compatible for a strong personality such as James. By NBA coach standards, Spoelstra is relatively egoless, eschewing excuses, shunning spotlight, and never clamoring for credit. He would chuckle when strangers would assume Pat Riley was the Heat coach. Even as Spoelstra had won a championship, Blatt found his pride much harder to hide, which is why he had commonly cited players' absences when he'd been criticized, and had made sure to remind reporters of overseas accomplishments. It's hard to imagine he's that much different behind closed doors. So it should be fairly clear now, after what played out in Miami and Cleveland this season, just how much the Spoelstra-James partnership benefited both. This was especially so after Spoelstra embraced Payton's space following the failure in the first final. And James, through his energy and excellence, elevated his play, coach, and the Heat franchise to extreme height. Spoelstra, even with his youth and dark of NBA head coaching experience, did manage to convince James to get out of his comfort zone, sliding him regularly to power forward, even while calling the Heat lineup positionless, so James wouldn't feel constrained by that label. The Heat, especially in the 66-win 2012-13 season, played their best ball with James at that spot. James often played his best ball too. But even that relationship, like most between coach and player, encountered some challenges, only some of which got out. By the 4th straight exhausting final run, just about everyone on the Heat front line was somewhat weary of one another. And it was no secret that James was among several Heat players privately questioning Spoelstra's ultra-aggressive, highly taxing defensive scheme, particularly as the Spurs surgically picked it apart. After the Heat fell behind 3-1 to San Antonio last June, I asked it to James, who was still behind the podium, and I quote, "LeBron, you talk about their ball movement a little bit. Is it just about doing things harder, or are there tactical adjustments that need to be made in your guys' view?" While I didn't do this intentionally, I quickly recognized that I uttered a Spoelstra phrase, "doing it harder," which may have been why James reacted like this. "That sounds like a setup question." "Not really," I replied. "Not really," James said, then smiling. "Man, the Spurs move the ball extremely well. They put you in positions that no other team in this league does, and it's tough because you have to cover the ball first. But also, those guys on the weak side can do multiple things. They can shoot the ball from outside. They can also penetrate, so our defense is geared toward running guys off the three-point line. But at the same time, those guys are getting full steam ahead and getting to the rim, too. The challenge as well with them implementing Boy Diaw into the lineup has given them another point guard on the floor. So Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, and Diaw and Patty Mills on the floor at once, they got 4 point guards basically on the floor at once. So all of them are live, and they all can make plays. So it's challenge for us all. With that response, he made it clear to the trained ear that it wasn't just about doing it hard. It was also about making adjustment to the way the Spurs were attacking. The coach is the one primarily responsible for those adjustments. But James did this so stubbornly that he got his point across without creating a raging controversy. Rather, he primarily left the impression of appreciation of the other squad. Now the frustration with his own coach, he took this approach in several situations over his time in Miami. You can count on one hand the time that he implied any conflict with Spoelstra, such as when he complained about his discomfort with playing power forward and battling the pace of David West. That filter hasn't followed him home. Nor is this a one-way street. Blatt goes to great pains to dismiss reporter critique of James' play, usually saying that everybody needs to be better. But not all of Blatt's answers take the easy, expected turn, especially when a reporter is trying to praise James above others. When someone asks a softball question, such as what it means for James to show up several hours early for Game 1 of this series, it's better just to say it's a sign of tremendous commitment than to seem perplexed and slightly put off by the attempt to single anyone out. If some of this seems like a sideshow, well, some is, and if some of this seems unfair, well, that's true, too, especially the emphasis of Black inbound decision with 1.5 seconds remaining Sunday. The latter is not what you might have plotted. Maybe, and it's certainly not what James would have conceived, he said Monday, that he never even gave inbounding a thought. Since we going to win or lose with me, I just take that responsibility. But Blatt, who said he simply thought it's right to use his biggest and best passer in that capacity, did remind reporters Monday that he did something similar in San Antonio this season, with James finding Irving, who made a game-time three-pointer as part of a 57-point performance. There was also a January game against the Clippers, in which James steals a victory with a bullet inbound pass to Tristan Thompson for a layup, a play that caused James to laud his coach for a rare occasion. Nor is it especially unusual, as James has repeatedly stated this season, for a star, particularly one of lofty IQ, to take some control of the proceeding. My team expects me to make some decision. It's no different from a great quarterback calling an audible. For the record, James did this some in Miami, too. When the relationship is widely considered healthy, the litigation is deemed proof of the coach demonstrating flexibility and trust, and alteration can be seen as a sign of a star showing in a narrative. Of course, the Blatt-James relationship isn't widely viewed that way. Maybe a championship changed that, especially under the current adverse circumstances. With Kevin Love out and Kyrie Love ailing, after all, as James said prior to the season, he couldn't take the full measure of teammates and coaches until they went through tough times together. Maybe Blatt never does anything else that can be constructed as inexperienced. At least in terms of his adjustment to the American game, Monday he insisted that he had never lost track of his timeout before. He was fortunate the official didn't see this signal, or the Bulls would have been shooting a free throw. But Sunday wasn't the first time this season he squandered all of his stopping too soon. He did so against the Spurs in November, which forced James to dribble from the backcourt on a late possession into a turnover that ended Cleveland's chances. Monday, James did Blatt some service by asserting that he felt the Cleveland coach had put our team in position to be successful in the postseason, and asked the players, we got to go out and execute. It's not about me changing play call or Coach Blatt trying to call a timeout when he didn't have one. That's why we're a team. You don't have to do it on their own. Players, we make the majority of the mistakes. Coaches make mistakes at times. That's why you have guys pick you up. That's why we have our assistant coach that help Coach Blatt when things are not going right. And that's why I have Kyrie and Tristan and Deli and the rest of those guys to help me when things are not going right. That's what this team is all about. We get carried away too much with individually in this sports. It's not golf, it's not tennis. That's a good start. That's the right track to stop, or at least pause the cycle of controversy. Naturally, though, it can't answer the other question. Is Blatt the right coach? The right coach for this situation? The right coach to get enough of James' respect to get his ears and then his best? The right coach to put James out of his comfort zone in a way that the star will keep pushing forward and higher rather than back? That remains to be seen, and should it be completely ruled out, not after just 7 months of a struggle, as that stretch has seemed. For Black's sake, though, that confirmation best be seen very soon, while the conflict is heard much less. Like, comment, subscribe. See you guys on the next one. Peace.